watching the Day One Disciple podcast. I am your very, very gracious host, Brittany. Today, we are going to talk about love. I am so excited to talk about this topic. I truly feel it is the foundation of your faith. It covers you in the sense that if you love thy neighbor and you try to move within your love for Christ or just within love in general, you will basically cover a lot of the commandments, but it will stop you from making very unjust, unpractical choices if you move through the love of the Lord. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how we can, if you're young or just starting out dating, how to avoid pitfalls, how to not pick the wrong person right off the rip and just be patient in choosing the right person through your faith. And if you're like me and you did that, been there, done that, and you have a testimony or two, how to move forward through just having a lot of heartbreak or maybe just distrust for the world, distrust for the flesh, even for your own choices and discernment, and how to realign yourself so that you can be better fitted as a mate and make better choices for your future mate. And I just want to say that thank you if you're returning. I appreciate you. I know that I know I've been super inconsistent because no excuses. But it's crazy. After I said no excuses. No excuses. I have been extremely busy. There has been some pretty heavy things that have happened in my life on a personal level. And I just have been trying to navigate that and show up correctly. I don't ever want to record a podcast and just throw it up just to say that I'm on my schedule. I always want to move according to what God puts on my heart and what he wants me to say, especially because I am born again. I am not a Bible college graduate or someone like that. This podcast is for people who are new to the faith, who feel a little bit intimidated by those who are very strong in their faith, and it can sometimes come off as um like they're looking down on you, and I get that, and I don't think it's intended to be that way, and I don't think that you shouldn't necessarily be intimidated by it, but it can feel that way. And so I wanted to create something that where people can feel like, you know what, we can grow together in the faith together and demonstrate my journey as it happens, as it unfolds in real time. So that's what this is. There is bumps in the road. I do realize that I am under a lot of spiritual attacks. That's something that I'm not used to, honestly. I'm born again, so before now, I didn't know. I just thought the trials were just bad times. There's good times, there's bad times. This is a whole nother level. And when you're talking about building your faith with God and um helping others to do the same, being a disciple, stewarding and putting, spreading the gospel, the level of attack that unfolds quick, fast, in a hurry, like a bus hitting you, is insane. So I just want to say that I'm sorry that I've been inconsistent, but I am definitely working on that, being better and whatnot. This is a one-man show. I do everything. I edit, I set up my setup, I do it all. I come up with my content. I study for my content. So with that, being a mom, being a wife, being a business owner times two, because I have a flooring business and a card shop in Sacramento. This is after all those things, which I don't want it to be, obviously, because I want to be a good disciple, but I'm trying to make it more of a priority. It's just been a struggle. So bear with me. That was a lot. As far as love goes, though, love, 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 love. I've always been a person who has love. I love love stories, movies about love. My favorite movie growing up, which is wild to even say, but was Love Jones. Um, with Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. I love Love Jones. I I always love love. And I always knew that I wanted to be in love one day and, have a partner, somebody to walk through life with. And at a very young age, I found myself searching for that before I was even really searching for myself or even having a real relationship with God. I truly feel like if I really had that foundation, so many of the choices that I made would have been so different for me. But it wasn't, and that's okay. It has brought me here and has gave me plenty of testimonies for days and days. And I understand what it looks like to have not cherished your temple, cherished your body, cherished your spirituality and given it away. And then try to build a life after that. Try not to take all of that baggage and all of that hurt and pain with you to the next real thing in your life. And that's a hard thing to do. One thing that can help, and even if, you're just starting out dating or you are, looking for someone to love or a new partner, newly divorced, um, newly adult, newly to the dating game, or you've been in it for a while and you're just tired, the thing that's going to solidify your journey in a positive way to where you have an armor on you and you're prepared to date without feeling like you're vulnerable is going to be God. It's going to be that love foundation relationship with God that just nobody else can touch, but it's also going to be the blueprint for whatever love or relationship you build, whether it's romantic or not. The love that God gives you is the blueprint. It's like an unsaid thing, but it should be said more. That relationship that you have with God should be the basis and the comparable diagram to any relationship that you have with anybody else. Like if I'm thinking about my relationship with God, I'm thinking, and I'm thinking about my relationship with someone else, I'm going to think about, is this person that I'm dating, uh, or, just a friend or whoever it is this somebody that I can be vulnerable with, someone I can confide in without feeling rejection or judgment? Because God will never judge you or condemn you for anything that you do. And that's a basis for a relationship. A lot of times we don't even realize that somebody that we're dealing with gives us the feeling of discomfort in some form of fashion. And God will never give you a feeling of discomfort. And it is not a unfair or unrealistic comparison to make for somebody that you're dating. It's just something basic. Something basic. When you love somebody truly under the guise of God, you don't condemn them. You have patience with them. You don't compare them. You give them grace. Um, you don't judge them. You have patience with them. Like that, these are all things that God does for us. So when I say it's the blueprint, it is truly that. And it's one that we should live by when it comes to who we choose to carry out this life with. We don't need extra. This life is hard enough. We definitely don't need anything extra on top. Having somebody who has that same basis of faith, I think is important. You start to realize too, when you have a relationship with God, some very fundamental things. Like you Listen more to your discernment instead of your flesh, instead of your desires. Discernment over desire. So you start to tune in more into what God is telling you about someone rather than what you want them to be, which is leading to potential. Like you don't so much feel attracted to what could be, what you make up in your head, rather than their character and what they actually look like. Like you recognize them by their fruit, like scripture says in Matthew, by the fruit, not by what they say or what they pretend to be, but truly you start to see things in them because you have a kingdom perspective about people. Your whole vision of how you see people changes. You stop settling because you're lonely. Because you're not lonely, you have God. So your relationship with God fulfills you in a way where anyone else coming in is an add-on. It's not something where you need someone to fulfill you or you have a piece of you that's missing. God is fulfilling you like that every day. He fills your cup. So someone else coming in is just an additional cup. There's just someone else that is adding to what is already there. They are not a missing piece to your puzzle. They're just another puzzle. And I feel like if you have God in your life and you have that fulfillment of a relationship with the Lord, then you do not seek people for the wrong reasons. You seek them for companionship, maybe to start an actual relationship with and have children and a marriage and covenant. You don't seek them because you're lonely and you are feeling a void. You start to have a kingdom filter about who you are dating. You start to see people's demons. You start to see what they're struggling with that is within the flesh and not within the spirit. And when you start to discuss these things, even on dates and things like that, when people can't have a real upfront conversation about God and where they are spiritually, that's a huge red flag. Like on a date, I think if I were to go on a date today, if I was not married, I would discuss God probably 75% of the time. What is your relationship with God? Are you religious? Um do you pray? What does your prayer life look like? Do you believe in spreading the gospel? Um, what do you think about people who are in a relationship and put God first, or things around that conversation would be centered around that. Not to say that I would just be dishing it out like that, like an interview, but it should not be uncomfortable to someone else who was very much sovereign to have a conversation like that. If I start to sense that you don't like to talk about it, then we're probably not evenly yoked. We need to be on the same page. You have to protect your heart. As Proverbs says, guard your heart, because if a person is put off by your love for God, then they probably don't have the same love for God. They should be impressed and they should feel comfortable and like they can let their guard down, like, oh, this person actually has that same type of feeling and sovereignty that I do. And, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. So that should be a red flag. So when you have a relationship with God, the main thing that I realize too is how much it transforms you, because truly when you become a better person within your relationship with God and your love with God, you attract like-minded, like energy, like spirituality people, right? So your communication changes. You communicate with more patience, more love, more clarity. God trans God transforms your attitude and your emotional response to things. You love with purpose and not pressure. You're not trying to make someone love you because it fits your plan or it fits your ideology of what life should be, or some type of desire that you have within your flesh. It is actually part of your purpose as a human being. You see what God is sending your way. You see your assignment. You see it fits within your plan. You understand that it is a spiritual connection between you, that person, and God, and it feels more natural rather than forced. You model Christ-like love. You want to have the type of love that Christ has, that we talked about before, being more patient, being more um giving more grace, having more understanding of who someone is deep inside, what they've been through, their testimonies, not having any judgment. You truly accept someone for who they are, and you love them the way that they are, in that Christ-like way. And then of course you learn to serve your mate without resentment. You want to serve them. You understand that that is a huge part of who you are, especially, we as women think, or it can be said that women are the servers in a relationship, right? But we're not the servants in a relationship. We we are a dual servant relationship. Not just the women are the servants in a relationship. The men are also too. They play their role just the way that women do. We both have a role. What that looks like in your relationship under God is between you, that person, and God. But being a servant in your relationship, just like you are with your relationship with God, you are also a servant. You serve Him. You want to be a good servant to the person that you're with. You want to serve them, whether you're the female or the male, because you want to have that Ephesians type love. You want to have that Christ-like sacrificial love that's mentioned in scripture in Ephesians. You want to have compassion and forgiveness always when you're in a relationship with somebody. You don't want to be short-tempered or be frustrated by the mistakes that someone makes, because we all make mistakes. We are all born into sin. We are all going to mess up. It's important for you to have that the compassion and that forgiveness, like the scripture says in Galatians, that really demonstrates the type of love that forgives and shows a lot of grace. That is super important in any relationship, and being sovereign and being close to God makes you a lot more that way than the other. So I'll say some practical steps for us to just try to be the best version of ourselves and to find the best mate under the guise of God and not under the guise of our flesh. I will say daily time with God so that you can establish your identity and be grounded. So just sitting in His presence, being at His feet, being in prayer, knowing exactly what you want, journaling, talking to Him, giving Him glory, giving Him all of your problems, all of your stresses, laying it out for Him. Even if you are in a relationship with someone currently, this can help you through that. It can help you to either leave or to make a better decision in your relationship, as far as coming together and making compromises, or establishing some type of trust, or uh, having more grace, being more godlike, and growing together. Pray for your spouse. Pray for the person that you have in your life currently, or that you plan to meet in the future, or that you feel God has for you in the future. Whoever He plans to have for you in the future, pray for that person. Pray that they find you at your best self. Pray for the qualities that you want. Pray that God gives you the discernment to know who they are. Pray that you are equipped to be with them, and that they are equipped to be with you when you meet them. Pray that you guys find each other at the perfect time. Practice makes perfect. So I say that if you really want to find that special person, really start practicing some of the things that will make you a good mate, a good lover. Practice being graceful. Practice giving people grace, even when you feel they don't deserve it, even when they get on your nerves and they're doing too much. Practice giving them grace, because that is not for them only, it's for you. It's to show yourself that you know better, that you know people make mistakes, so do you. And it is not up to you to judge them. It's not up to you to scrutinize them, and practice that. Practice being patient. Practice showing love to people and showing up for people. Practice being a servant. Practice makes perfect. And when you start to demonstrate these things through your spirit, through your daily life, and show that you're truly feeling up for the task of being a really good mate, then God may feel that you are ready. And you want to be ready. You don't want to be caught off guard. You don't want to be tangled up any type of resentment or any type of baggage from a previous relationship. You want to be ready. Choosing God first is going to be how you come out the best when it comes to love. How you avoid being in relationships that are not centered around God. Understand that if someone does not love God, they can't love you. They can't love you right because God is love. So if they don't have God in their life, they don't have love in their life, period. And you have to understand that true love, real love is going to come straight from Him. Anything else is going to be of the flesh and it's going to be of the enemy, and you don't want that. And that's how people end up in abusive relationships. And that's how people end up in relationships with people who seem to have narcissistic traits, and they don't, or you just end up with the wrong person and you guys just don't align and argue all the time. This is how these things happen because the relationship was, the foundation of it was never built on God. It was never built on love, which is God. It always comes back to God, which is love. A God centered love is stable and intentional. It is stable and intentional because you and your partner both know what you're in it for, what you need out of it. How do you get what you need out of it? Through God. What do you need out of it? God. Purpose. What drives it? What builds it? God. Love. So it's always going to be intentional. It's always going to be um stable as long as you put God at the center of it. So if you enjoyed this podcast this week, let me know. Please let me know in the comments what you think. If you would like to add anything. I really enjoyed filming this podcast today. Let me know what you think about everything that I said today. Journal prompt for today is, what are some ways that what are some pros about how I love, and what are some things that I can work on through the guise of God? What are some things that I am not that strong with? Like for me, I am not very patient. I'm not patient at all. I don't have any patience. It's absolutely horrible. And I am very prideful, very egotistical sometimes. I'm very judgy. I have a lot of pride, and it's not, pride isn't always something where you feel good about something. A lot of times pride comes from insecurity, from not wanting to be seen in a certain light and having insecurities. And I feel like that is one of my biggest downfalls. And it makes it to where it's hard for me to accept criticism and to accept being wrong. And that's a huge downfall in a relationship. You have to let go of your pride and your ego. You have to put that aside when it comes to love and loving somebody. And just in general in life, you don't, pride is horrible. Don't, if you find yourself being prideful, whether good or bad, whether it's about your insecurities or about something that you feel that you've done, nothing that you've done deserves pride. Not a thing. Not one thing you've done. Everything is because of God. And that's why pride is not good. It's just not. And if you start to feel that creeping up inside of you, then you have to release it, especially when it comes to love. So I would say, list some things that you need to work on and list some things that you're great at, that you're wonderful at. Like, I'm a great servant. I love to serve. That's my love language. I love to serve. I love to make my husband dinner and serve it to him. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to see his plate. face light up when it's his favorite meal. I love to serve. I love to fold his laundry. I love to make sure that he has everything that he needs to make his day go complete. Being a servant is my love language. I understand that's not everybody else's, so if it's not you, that's fine. But knowing these things about yourself can help you to identify these where someone else might be stronger or lacking in their personality and can better qualify you and make you seemingly more compatible if you already know, which is why I love this journal prompt. It's just important to identify who you are, where you're strong, where you're weak, what you can work on, and just knowing the things you're good about and good at so that you're not beating up yourself too much because it's not always about what's wrong. It's sometimes about what's right and what you deserve, what somebody should see in you and recognize and enjoy about you. Whew, so if you like this episode, if you feel that there's somebody out there, maybe a friend, family member, something like that, who would also enjoy this episode, who needs to understand that God is everything, God is love, and that He's the basis, the blueprint for any relationship that you have, please share it with them. Share it. Follow me on Instagram at Brittany Chanel _ Everything is linked in my bio, merch, things I love, Christian things I love, all linked in my bio. Thank you for coming and watching or listening to this podcast today. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I really, really appreciate you all. And I will see you guys next week for the next episode. Love you. Bye.